Buffer area or a wetlands will require a general permit.
Okay. You want me to, you can do that. All right, but you can memo me out. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. That actually works a lot easier. There was only two of them, you and somebody else. I thought, okay, you guys try to follow the directions.
Yeah.
They added understood night decks, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
What's your,
They did away
Yeah,
sort
Steve,
of.
or it's Chris, or
Yeah, you don't have a 42-acre circle
But
around.
they can impose it if they
Sure,
want to on
sure,
a case by
but it's
case
not,
basis.
it's not a
But they've never
universal.
done that, yeah. I don't know. And with GP, I mean, they're doing it.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Perfect. I got, one more. And I didn't move my wall, but I sent you that.
Great, we're getting just about ready to start tonight's meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Town of Williamsburg Planning Board meeting, the first one of January 2025. Yeah. But that's okay. We all know it's 2025. and We welcome you. It's like to give the town some kudos because if you were here several years ago, these rooms were much worse. To be polite, and they've done a really nice job fixing the room up, making it comfortable. I mean, rest areas, as you see, the rest areas are as you enter into the room, if you need stuff. And I think Bill Wenzel, there's a lot of courage for devoting some resources, the very few resources the town has to make this a comfortable place to have meetings. So with that being said, my name's Jeff Schmidt. I'm the chairperson of the Town of Williamsburg Planning Board. And we're missing two of the members tonight. Elizabeth Novak and Mike Walpole couldn't make it tonight, but we do have a quorum for conducting the meeting. We'll go around the table just so we'll introduce the members of the board and the other attendees from the town.
Good evening, I'm Mike Harris, I'm the vice chair.
Matt Hoffman, planning board member. Josh Houghton, planning board member.
Teresa Baker, attorney for the planning board.
Lindsay Altizer, planning board clerk.
Chris Parkslow, code enforcement officer, town planner.
There you go. So that's the crew you got to deal with tonight. And we welcome you again. The first part of the agendas have been posted on the website and they're available at the door. There's a sign-in sheet at the door. If you didn't get an opportunity to sign in, we ask you to please do so that we can have that as a record. First part of tonight's meeting is what we call the open forum. It allows anyone in the audience to make a statement to the board. Things that may or may not be of interest to the board, but are of interest to you. So they are then subsequently an interest to the board members. So if you'd like to make a statement, we invite you to do so. So we ask that you identify yourself by your first name, last name, and location, and limit any presentation to about 4 minutes. And if there's an item on tonight's agenda that you want to talk about, reserve your comments for that period. So the open forum is for just anything that's not on tonight's agenda. So with that being said, I'll make a motion to open the open forum for the Town of Williamsburg Planning Board meeting, January 16th, 2025.
And I'll second that.
Chairman Schmidt,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Board Member Hoffman,
Yes.
Board Member Houghton.
Yes.
Okay, so if anyone would like to make a statement or anything. Lots of interest, I see.
They want to get down to business.
That's right. We're gonna get down to business. So I'll make a motion to close the open forum for the Town of Williamsburg, January 16th, 2025 meeting.
I'll second that.
Chairman Schmidt,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Board Member Hoffman,
Yes.
Board Member Houghton.
Yes.
Okay. The first, there are no public hearings being conducted this evening. And so that we move on to what we call old business, which are projects that have been in the works for a while with the board. The first one on tonight's agenda would be Louise E. Matthew, 2409 Batter Street, seeks a special use permit for multifamily dwelling. So if Lucy's here. There you go. We ask you to describe your project to the board, maybe for the fifth time or the fourth time.
My name's Matt Leansy, 2409 Badger Street, for the 24 by 24 two-story garage. I'm seeking a special usage permit to move my mother up from Myrtle Beach to reside on my property.
What was that thing from last time?
We just didn't have the it's going to the county planning.
Okay,
Okay.
it's, so we received that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
As of our last meeting, we didn't proceed any further because we didn't have county planning's letter of approval. We have received that. And
It's a type 2 action, it's a 2-family, so.
type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. That's, does the board have any questions or comments on this?
No, I think all the comments have been addressed, and really, the only thing that county planning came back with was,
They just recommended approval.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, and I'll just ask our code enforcement officer if you have any issues. Homestead?
Yes, well, I mean, it's not done yet, but,
Yeah,
you know,
okay,
up to this point, yeah.
okay.
Somebody should make a motion to approve.
I like
And we don't have to, there's no secret.
No secret.
or anything. We're good there.
All you can say is it's a type 2 action.
type 2 action.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the Matthew and Jen Louisi special use permit for a multifamily dwelling at 2409 Batter Street. It's a type 2 action for seeker. And I think we have no additions. Everything else has been taken care of, so we make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Yay. Vice Chairman Harris,
Yes.
Board Member Hoffman,
Yes.
Chairman Schmidt.
Yep.
Board Member Huffman.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
okay,
I
Chris,
appreciate it.
go.
I'll be
Now,
in touch.
I'll see you with Chris.
Will do. Thanks very much.
And
Thank you.
thanks so much. Okay, thanks for your patience with the board.
Have a good night.
Okay, so the next one is, on old business would be the Williamsburg PS. Special use permit for a telecommunications facility. So, and that's the Verizon Tower, I believe. Okay.
Yes, correct. So we're proposing 120-foot tower with a 4-foot lightning rod on top of it off of, I believe, Chadwick Road, if I remember correctly. Sorry, I'm filling in for someone tonight.
Yeah,
And yeah, so at present, there's a balloon fly scheduled to take place on February 6th, I believe, so in about 3 weeks. We believe that that's been noticed, it's up on the website. We don't have any more updates on our end, other than.
okay, yeah, I think the holdup was that the notification to the neighbors didn't go out in time, and now that it's out there, I think we're prepared to move forward with the balloon test. I think myself and maybe another member of the board would be able to witness that at that time. And after that, we can schedule a public hearing and go forward. So we thank you for,
And just so you
our
know,
patience.
the notice of intent for the planning board to be lead agency went out yesterday. So that'll start the 30-day period, right, Lindsay?
So do we have to get that back before we schedule a public hearing?
No, you don't, but usually you want to wait to get it back, so you're the lead agency, and hopefully by then you'll also get comments from the other involved agencies.
Okay.
Because that's usually when they give it to us.
Okay.
But just a question was, have you done any outreach to any of the immediate, contiguous property owners yet, or?
I can check with the attorney who's on this,
Okay.
I believe he has, but I will
Okay.
check.
That can be important as we get to the public hearing stage when suddenly someone comes out of the woodwork and it's very vehemently opposed to something. So the more deciding you can do with in educating the especially the contiguous property owners, it's very important. Okay, so I think what the best thing to do would be, make a motion to table this until our next meeting, which is twentieth, February 20th.
Before we table it,
Yeah.
I did notice there is a drill rig out there right now. Is that associated with you guys? It looks like they're drilling for a well. Right, it's past that break, the hedgerow, right where the road is, so. That work? It's not, it's on the wall. You can't really see it,
Might not work on the
Oh,
TV.
that doesn't work.
yeah,
Oh,
but it's by the bend in that field. It looks like someone's drilling a well right there. I don't know if Don is planning on selling that lot. So I don't know how that would affect.
well, if you could check with the property owner, because you have the lease with Johnny James,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, let us know about that.
Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing of that, so thank you, and I will let everybody know.
Yeah.
So we can follow up on that.
And then the only other thing is we still haven't received any information back on the access road turnarounds.
Right, which you're gonna coordinate with the fire guys and show the template. So we make sure that you have access and then the fire, what do you call that, the fire code, emergency access along the roadway. I think, who was here last time? Who was the attorney from your office that was here last time?
Oh, we James?
Yeah, I
He was
think
a member
so.
of this board.
Yeah, so he heard that.
Yeah.
So we just haven't gotten a revised plan yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe those communications are still ongoing, but all the lines are set.
Okay.
To follow up and something.
Okay, that drill rig might be the state museum. They're doing a lot in
Okay,
Waynesburg right now.
okay,
I'd have to go look and see what,
it looks like,
is it blue and,
no, it's artesian water wells.
oh, it is artesian?
Yeah,
It's not, okay. Cause I know the.
no, it's Zeke's, the green and, but.
What's the state museum
Yeah.
going around drilling holes?
So they found out Waynesburg is on a natural ancient glacier and they're drilling down. Doing samples, they went down, they went down 700 feet at the Little League field. For what? What do they want? Trying to find artifacts and age it, like carbon dating type thing. Cool.
Maybe they'll find a woolly mammoth.
Well, hey.
We'll all be rich.
Okay, so with those couple of reminders, make a motion to table the special use permit until our February 20th, 2025 meeting.
I can second that.
Chairman Schmidt,
Yes,
Board Member Houghton,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Harris,
Yes.
Board Member Hoffman.
Yes.
okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is under sketch plan review. It's Michelle Kareem. It's a large project, major subdivision, 1,000-seat recreational facility. If someone did go through this, it was quite a surprise to me when I saw that. And maybe Chris, our code enforcement officer, makes comment initially.
There's two things going on at once here, just so you guys know.
Okay.
They're on sketch plan and new business.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's,
One's a subdivision, another's a special use.
Okay.
Okay.
That way you can talk about both at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
also,
Can we-
I have this map a little more blown up. Which would you prefer?
Maybe the first one you had.
Okay.
Should work for a little while, yeah.
Yep, okay.
Good evening, Christopher Longo here from Empire Engineering, representing the applicant Karen Michelle and the landowner. So what Karen is proposing is her main goal is a residence initially on the front end of this. But she did purchase the property with hopes of constructing a recreation center. The 1,000 seats sounds like a very large number. We tried to put kind of the size of that box of what generally a recreational center of that size and nature would be. She did, I believe, provide also some if you want to call it business planning type of list of types of activities that would happen there. Karen is from Rockland County. She's been going around various places for quite a while at conferences and speaking events and ministry events like that. So she'd like to create that type of facility here as a phase two of developing this property first for a homestead. So what I've done for here is that kind of get you oriented. It's Route 20. This is the Long Energy propane storage. So just past there, it's currently 2 parcels previously owned, Sam Donadio, and I think they owned, it was part of the subdivision from Settles Hill as well. Or Sperry Turnpike, I'm sorry. And so there's 2 parcels. Here's the parcel line now. And this parcel here is kind of a awkward L shape. It's 2.8 acres. And then the white line is the larger 70 plus acres. This is zoned R2. The front 2.8 is zoned C1. What we have found through the zoning code is that recreation center is allowed use by special use permit within the R2 zoning. So that's, the avenue that would be pursued for this. However, to begin with, the proposal would be for a 4-lot subdivision, 3 residential parcels. This parcel, we could still call it residential, although it would be more of a lot line adjustment to increase the size to about 9 acres, 9+ acres to allow for a larger area of development on that property. But the major part of this this proposal and this request would be that we would propose a town road, a roadway dedicated to the municipality in the form of a cul-de-sac with road frontage for the 3 parcels and road frontage for the recreation center. And the reason we're doing that is we could develop this with commercial use and have a driveway out to the front, and then you could have a residential driveway to the back. There's, ways that you could think about trying to split that up to get a third driveway in, but we felt this was the best way to condense the access, which the recreation would need anyway, and then have offshoots of private driveways for residential use behind that. And then this would be the extent of the subdivision. These 2 parcels would kind of be bookended here. And then the 3rd parcel would own the remainder, with the intention that remains a large swath of wooded area that would be used by Ms. Michelle. So that's the proposal, basically 3 residential houses in the recreation center. With that would be, some plans for some outdoor amenities as well. The reason that the parking area is kind of split into 2 is the topography change here. It kind of goes uphill onto the higher area. So what would most likely be an upper level, and then the building would probably be split, very early stages there, but split level into 2 stories with an upper level entrance and then a lower level entrance with the larger parking. Septic up toward the, kind of that buffer zone with the propane, and then stormwater on the lowest area. The extent of where this would have to be as far as right-of-way lines, and the town there'd have to be some sort of storm feature for a town road, but then also the private stormwater would be in that direction as well. That's, again, early stages with storm development there. I'd be glad to, answer any questions.
Residential, are these single family homes or are they multiple dwelling?
It would be a subdivision, minor subdivision, where this is a new residential lot. single family is allowed by use, I believe two family would be allowed by special use, so, you know, if these all. You know, are retained by Ms. Michelle, she may propose one, you know, to build on one, two, or all three. But if she proposes one, if it's single family, it would be just allowed by right. If she wanted to go with a two-family route, you know, there would be the consideration for another special use permit, but. You know, that again remains to be seen as far as, you know, if there's a few parcels here, do any of them need to be two-family? I don't know. At that point.
How large are those individual parcels, like?
These are a little bit under the, or they're a little bit over the 100,000 square foot minimum, right? So 2.2 acres, 2.3 acres minimum. They're a little bit over that, these two. And then the third residential gets, you know, the 69 other acres. So yes, these are minimum by code with a little bit of buffer there. Private well, private septic system. On the 3 lots.
Lot 3 is proposed for your home,
Yes.
so you're gonna build a road and a cul-de-sac for your single family home.
Yes. The intention is to build out the full site, obviously here. This, now, here's where it could go. She could put the house that she wants to build right here with a building permit, you know, tomorrow. So, and we could build a driveway and go all the way to the back. We felt that in speaking with Chris a couple of weeks ago, back in December, we said, you know, there is a final goal here, and this would be the final goal. A nice, good, you know, here we've carved out 9 to 10 acres worth of area for a recreation center. It has plenty of room for outdoor amenities as well. But, you know, short term, there are plans to be a house there. There's no need to dedicate a road or anything if just the driveway gets built, I suppose, and, you know, we could carve that out and get the road bed started, but, you know, if the board is interested in this and likes the idea of, you know, a new, community type center here, and they could get behind this idea and would be willing to, ultimately in time accept a road dedicated to the town as a cul-de-sac, then this would be the, you know, how we would shape out the development.
Can we get some information, like what this community center, like, what is it? Who's gonna be using it? What's it gonna be used for? What, you know, what's the intent?
Yeah, the intent is to, I used to do that, like I spoke to, Mr. Longo. I used to travel to give conferences everywhere. I'm from Whatcom County, to tell you. I have Graceland Gospel Fellowship. I use, you know, very often, you know, to do all kind of, I'm a psychosocial. And I used to work with people, help people. And I found out now it's time to have my own thing. Like I don't have to travel anymore. I'm getting old. And I will have people to come to me from all over, from the town first, and all over places. What do you think? It's a nice project.
So you would plan to host events, right?
Events,
type
conference,
events?
and have a recreation center is gonna be like gonna be useful for the community, you know. So we're gonna have activities. We're gonna have a lot of things running there.
And you would plan to be the operator of the facility?
Yes,
You would own and
yes, I'm gonna
operate
have
it.
other people too, professional people, you know.
So you're going to charge?
Oh, no, in a point, if I'm looking for grant, I'm looking for funding, you know, so if all things come together, so I don't think we're gonna charge, but we're gonna have daycare as well for, you know, kids and adults.
What would be that, I mean, 1,000 people is a lot of people, how would you accommodate 1,000 people with traffic, sanitary facilities, drinking water, fire safety, but that other parcel, because hard to separate that from this whole project under our.
So we're gonna combine 1,000 people, we're gonna have office, we're gonna have, so it's gonna be subdivided with a lot of things and put it together for 1,000 people, you know?
I can help you with that too,
Yeah,
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 so
sure.
I believe it was, this building is 100 by 150. And we used some similar sized facilities around the area for, you know, a similar example is another church locally, a sanctuary size of about 450 seats, a large foyer, and then programming room, student classroom sizes that could fit 20 to 30. So that's where you're getting this one, that's why I say the 1,000 number sounds like a
It's
lot.
a
but it's-
combination, yeah.
Right, split it into some office space, administrative space, and then a large
Everything is
conference
included.
area.
Mhm.
That's where you're getting, so but on 100 by 150, 2 stories, you could fit, you know, fire code capacity 1,000. On a normal day, you're not talking anywhere near 1,000 people, you know, that's a large draw, even for a conference, that's a large draw of people
Mhm.
from the area. I mean, you're gonna be out probably 100 miles worth of people coming to this facility in order to get 1,000 to come to a conference. But so that's the you know, building capacity. Day to day, it would depend on the programming. But as far as accommodating that many people in the event that it was at capacity, that would be, we've got a parking lot down here and a parking area up here. We had a goal of about 250 spaces. That's 1 car per 4 occupants in the building. That's what we found for a recreation center, you know. Churches are about 1 to 3, 1 to 4, so we have room if we needed to get that number up to 300 spaces or so. The well, we do propose a well that would have the 200-foot, because it would be public water supply, drinking water availability, so 200-foot buffer with that well, and there's plenty of room to site that. We're talking about 10 acres possible for it. And then that does still give you the back area, and I mean, this is long-term investment, this is, you know, Karen plans to do this over a period of time, I'm sure, but, you know, there's room for, in the event that there was pool area, basketball, outdoor recreation, you know, tennis playground, you could have a lot of outdoor area to get up and into the backyard. A large area is carved out for septic that, you know, that's about the size of the building, so another, you know, almost 200 feet wide by 100 feet deep there, so there is room for septic even with a, you know, an engineered system.
So are you familiar with the church up on Route 20 that was built by Waynesburg Reformed Presbyterian? Would it be roughly that size? Or is
It's
it,
on the north side of 20.
yeah, it's up on the hill. I'm just for comparison purposes. Is it a similar size or?
Maybe a little bit larger, and I mean, you would say, so you would plan the entire 100 by 150 or what, that's where I came to 100 by 150 because of the capacity to fit 1,000 people. You know, there's a chance that with funding and with availability and whatever grants and you know, participants and you know, donors here that, you know, maybe there's a scaled approach to that as well. So I don't want to get you too fixated on a certain one and say it will be like that, because as this thing kind of takes shape and, you know, the stakeholders are brought in, that's what's going to really define what could happen here. But I would say that size or a little bit larger. The building we used for footprint scale was in the town of Rotterdam, out on Gilderland Avenue. There's a Bethel Full Gospel Church. That was the sizing we used for that comparison. And they have a parking lot next to it. There's a long driveway, parking lot, septic system. That was about this size, 100 by 150.
I mean, what I read, you were talking about 300 capacity kitchen for food, 1,000 people, you only have 200 parking spots, shown 205. I think the site plan is drastically undersized. I mean, just the sprinkler system alone for a building that size, because we don't have water, you're probably gonna need some sort of on-site tank or something to have a cistern or a holding tank to provide water for sprinkler systems. I just think, I think this project is way, way bigger than what you're showing on this. The septic system is gonna have to be an individual permit designed by DEC. The stormwater system is gonna be massive. The soils around here are terrible. You're gonna have to have two stormwater systems, like you said, one for the town infrastructure potentially, which is gonna be supported by 3 homes and a business. I mean, that's gonna be hard to maintain. And then you've got the stormwater system for this impervious area. I just think that the acreage that you're showing and the concepts that the applicant is putting down in their business plan don't match, in my opinion.
Why you said so that it doesn't match? Because this is a big portion.
No, it's not, the overall parcel is
Yeah,
big,
but we're
but
gonna,
not how you're breaking it up now.
we are going to subdivide. You know, so one side gonna be the recreation center, the other side gonna be, you know, the houses. I think we have a lot of space to, you know, work it out, you know, to manage it. And I don't think it's gonna be, yeah.
And that's why we're coming here now. What we've done is we've carved out 10 acres. I thought that 10 acres fit best to kind of expand what was already near the commercial activity. Now, ultimately, if if the board is willing to do a subdivision and to consider accepting a road, we're working with 10 acres.
Yes.
That needs to fit all of the items that you mentioned. Does that mean that there can be consideration for kitchen area? If that blows out the septic system, maybe there's can't be. Or if they really want there to be a kitchen area, maybe that number cannot be 1,000 seat capacity. Maybe it has to be much lower at maybe 600 or 750. So I think 10 acres for programming space between all of the things, building, parking, septic, well, outdoor recreation and stormwater is a healthy area. And actually Karen was telling me that, down in Rockland County, she was surprised that we needed to even make this 2.8 acres any larger because, they handle, 1,000 seat capacity buildings on much smaller footprints. Now, again, different places altogether, but so that's where I felt the happy medium here was, okay, let's get this carved out. Let's get the road in the most appropriate location. And, with a couple of houses that could, if you were going to build a house here, you would need a driveway anyway. Now, I know that it certainly increases the level of effort here for the road, but it is just roadway and storm. Again, it's not a sewer and a water going down the road. So there's, and the recreation activity is supporting this construction as well. So, I mean, we were really, pretty confident with this plan and with Karen's goals and hopes to doing this new center that, I know it's maybe not, articulated as clearly as you might want to be seeing for this business plan as far as what are the activities, what's going to be going on here. How often are you going to be seeing these cars coming in and out? How often are you going to be seeing events here? And I think she can get there, but is there an interest in because it is a use allowed by special use permit. So is there an interest in allowing this recreation center type use here? I'm sure there's going to be lengthy conversations about what the right number of capacity of people is. Maybe 1,000 isn't the right number. If, this board, the town throws out a different number, that's something Karen's
Can
gonna
lower
have
it,
to.
so I'm
Yeah.
willing to,
Right.
to negotiate that.
I think, first of all, so, just to explain what the town does, so we have to look at this would be a type 1 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. So we would need a lot of information, as part of the application in order to evaluate the environmental impacts, like we would need a soil study, a traffic study. We would need a design for the septic system. And we would need to know, because we've had some problems in the town with the Dollar General, we would need to know that you actually could have a public water supply well here, right? Because you do work here in the town. Our water resources are somewhat limited, shall we say. So it would be it would require a lot of information to really give you the feedback that you're seeking from us, okay? And we need to talk to the highway superintendent. We have a new highway superintendent and find out if there's any interest in the town taking over a road in this situation. I mean, you would have to build it to the town specifications. That's very expensive. Very expensive. The standards are, I mean, Matt, you can speak to that, but it's very expensive for a recreation center in 3 lots.
Yeah,
It may make more sense to have separate driveways onto Route 20 for the recreation center. And then, maybe a shared driveway between 2 lots. I mean, you're talking, what is it? It's gotta be like $250,000 for a road.
I don't know what
It's
it's
a lot, yeah,
It's 1,000 feet.
yeah,
I mean,
with a cul-de-sac.
The reason behind the road is that the recreation center needs that road that you mentioned anyway. So to bring that, the difference between the large commercial driveway for the recreation center and the town road is the minimal change as to why we felt that this made sense. If you go out into the road with the recreation center and don't build the town road, you only have 1 residential parcel. Right, there are 2 parcels right now. There's already 2 parcels. So you could just build the driveway, which this is the ideal place to build on the lot anyway for the residential house. So you're considering a long residential driveway, and then if you didn't combine them, you'd be considering a large commercial driveway to access the recreation center. So that's where, in my mind, I said, well, let's put these 2 together, pool the costs for the driveway and free up land down in the low area, because that would now free up area for storm practices, because that's where everything's draining. So I know it's a large cost for the road and to town specs and everything, but also, I mean, what we have drawn here that's not cheap either. I mean, I know I've talked to Karen about this stuff. I mean, we're talking, it's going to be in the millions if you were to be this size.
Right, well, just so you know, I mean, the town is really, generally speaking, not enthusiastic about taking over new roadways. We have a lot of roads already. This road would be, it's off a state road, so it's away from other town roads that we currently maintain. So just be open to the feedback that may not be something the town is interested in.
And that's why we're coming here with this master plan, the concept plan.
Okay.
If there's no interest in a road, the ultimate answer would be a driveway to the house, to the 1 house and not the 3. And then we would then have to figure out what to do if this becomes a lot line adjustment to go from 2.8 acres, which it is now, to whatever's necessary. We put this one out there because we felt that this would take the line up to here, and that would now be about 10 acres. There would still be a lot line adjustment to some extent, unless, you know, the recreation plans were grossly decreased. You know, but there'd be something to consider for a lot line adjustment.
How would that work with the two different zones, two different zoning lots? Can you do a lot line adjustment?
Oh, yes, yeah,
And, but what does it assume?
it
Like, so
doesn't
the-
change the underlying zoning.
So the front lot is commercial
Yep,
and the back lot is residential.
Mhm.
So if they were to do a lot line adjustment, you're essentially
Commercial.
converting residential into commercial.
I don't.
Well, we would go the other way. We would be converting the.
Yeah, you're gonna flip it. Yes.
Yeah, the recreation center is allowed use by special use permit in the residential zone. So commercial would actually, would increase the allowable uses. So here we would kind of be disregarding the commercial zoning there. The building would be in the residential zone anyway, but we would just disregard the fact that the
So
front area
It'd
is
be
zoned.
less commercial acreage,
Mhm.
more residential with the lot line adjustment.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the zoning line follows the lot line?
no,
No,
So the zoning.
Oh,
line stays.
right.
there's
That's what I
lots,
think you're asking.
Okay.
there's
yeah.
lots in the town where the
Sorry,
front half of.
No, it's, yeah.
Of a 50-acre lot, the front half is commercial, and the back half is.
That's
Yeah, cause I think we had that scenario across the street with the storage units, right?
we
Yeah.
had, that
Yeah.
was a rezoning.
Yeah.
So Eric rezoned that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so,
What would be the total length if you were gonna construct a roadway that met the town highway specifications? You'd have to do the entire cul-de-sac and all the way out. Do you have an estimate what the length of that is?
I think
You've got it
have
at
the land.
975 feet on the plans, 935.
Yeah.
Includes the.
Yeah,
yeah. So 1,000 feet.
See, the problem with this 71-acre lot is it's only got 60 feet of road frontage.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with this, the residential lot.
the,
Which is all it needs for one.
One home.
One house.
Yeah.
You could call it a shared driveway, right? You could have one driveway split in three.
I mean,
You're not supposed to anymore, no,
Because those lots don't have road frontage.
right?
you can have a shared driveway, but you can't fix a road frontage
yeah,
problem.
so you can have a shared
Okay.
driveway with,
Yeah.
if you have 120 feet of road. right?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
That's.
it would be significant variances for the two additional
I
lots,
mean-
which probably wouldn't be feasible.
I also think, I know you've got some commercial to the northeast of it, but there's a lot of residential homes, and I think that, I don't know if a commercial entity of this size really fits in the character of the neighborhood here. I don't know, I would be very,
So you've got the propane tank.
the propane tank and then the
Yeah.
DL, what, you know,
It's like so-
And their
it's attached.
commercial yard is actually all the way back.
Yeah.
They're probably spilled over the property line actually.
Is that the school still?
Yeah.
Is the
they
school-
just came in not that long ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
CDS.
Oh,
Yes,
DDS.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we said.
Joe Hammond's old building.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Did a couple of people have, do you want to say something?
I just had a question if I could.
Sure.
Are we allowed to, I didn't, my
Yeah,
first time
yeah.
here, so I didn't know we were allowed to ask questions.
Yeah.
Can I ask her directly?
Okay.
No,
sure.
no.
Oh, I'm not-
Ask the board.
Again, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just curious if it was mentioned a religious organization. So I was curious as to what religious affiliation. the
No,
org-
there's no affiliation of any, religious thing. Yeah, it's just,
But what,
Social
my
things.
question, I guess, what type of social events would be held there? Because there was a mention when they stood up, that it was a religious type of entity. And religious associations and organizations aren't owned by individual people. So it is just, I'm curious as a community member, what type of social organization would be had there? What type of other people would be entertained by the type of social community things that would be put on? A basketball court,
Mhm.
pool, what's gonna be the events that are gonna be happening?
It's gonna be for everyone.
What events are gonna be put on?
The events that we're gonna have there, we're gonna have counseling. Like I said, we're gonna have,
Are you a licensed counselor?
yes. I'm a sociologist.
Awesome.
So I think what the question is just if you could provide more detail about what it is, what activities that you intend to hold in the recreational center, that would help people. It sounds like you're proposing to do conventions or meetings.
Yes, so we treat area, people gonna come for conference, people gonna come for lectures, people gonna come for everything, from Schenectady and everywhere else.
Yeah, maybe if you can just give us some examples of similar facilities, that'll be helpful. And I apologize, I may have confused.
No, I agree, you have to,
The
support of
religious
it.
thing, I was trying to look for another facility of the same size, just so people.
Can I pass you this?
Is that what you've submitted previously?
Yes, I think you have it in your
Yeah,
file,
we have
you have it,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
We do.
This is what I've been doing for 30 years.
I guess the challenge with what we have is if it was a religious organization, then we know that people of the religion are gonna suffer. This is more of it's not like the.
It's not gonna be a church.
It's
This
not
is
a
what I
downtown
want to make
convention
sure you
center
understand.
Hosting large conventions, so we're trying to figure out what events you're gonna have there, what's drawing people in. What's the
Music,
business?
concert, everything, that possible, to entertain people there.
I guess I'm not familiar with events that draw 1,000 people to get counted.
Well, here in this town.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm trying to understand. What events are happening?
But like, I mean, I think in addition to that, just like, how frequent? Is this every day of the week?
Yeah.
What's the hours of operation?
No, maybe,
You know,
2,
so
3
like,
times a year,
2 or 3 times a year?
yes,
Okay.
could be, yeah.
so I mean, I think those are all the type of things that we normally would see in a business plan, to
Right.
get a better understanding, because, then we're gonna have to look at. Is there lighting? What's the number of trips in and out, from a traffic study, like all of that type of stuff.
Right.
Any of the bigger commercial developments that come by, all of that stuff gets presented as part of your business plan, hour of operations. Where you're where are you gonna get all the water for the sprinkler, because it's gonna be a public assembly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I don't see how that's gonna.
Okay, then.
Can I stand up and speak for a moment? Or-
Yeah.
So,
Just your name.
my name is Nick McKiernan. I live at 2155 Western Turnpike. I am a bordering resident. Obviously, this is a concern. The infrastructure that this requires, I don't feel this land can support in any way. I've lived here my whole life. I lived in that house for 14 years. And I speak on behalf of the 4 houses that also border it. Unfortunately, because this was kind of last minute where they were made aware of it, they weren't available. Just the well alone, we're all running on wells in this town. And our wells pump 2 to 5 gallons a minute, 7 gallons a minute if you're lucky. And my kids will take a shower and run out of water. So how could you possibly support a 1,000-person fixture with water? You couldn't drill enough wells. And if you do drill a well, what do you think is going to happen to my well? Or to Skip Rose's well? Or to Betty Power's well? You can't draw that water. The ground doesn't allow it. The infrastructure just isn't there. And the same thing goes for a septic system. I have a $40,000 raised mound septic system for 4 people. What are you going to do for 1,000 people? Like, this is my concern, is that's why I'm here tonight, is there's multiple houses which are individual residences. For her to put in a residence for her and her family, that's none of my business, it's not my concern.
But to come in and say, I wanna have an event there, well, I live there. I live there day in and day out. I don't want 1,000 people in my backyard. I don't want music events on Sunday afternoon. Like, I have 2 young kids. The last thing I need, obviously, with my kids being outside is people from out of area coming in for events. I just don't see it. Again, like Skip Rose wanted to be here tonight because he is one of the front members. If anybody has ever driven by his house or knows him personally, when it rains, the front yard goes underwater. That's with just ground behind it. That's not including a road, a parking lot for 400 cars, a building that holds 1,000 people. The ground just doesn't, we all know this. Everyone who lives in this town knows it's clay and stone. It doesn't approve this. Again, a single residence is one thing, but an event center, no. Like, it just doesn't apply.
Hang on a second, let me address where we are procedurally, okay? Just because I want to assure you that everyone, all the adjoining neighbors will get official notice. And if the application moves forward, there'll be a public hearing.
Right.
Everybody will have a chance to speak. And you're encouraged at any point to send in emails to Chris or to Lindsay or to Jeff, sharing your comments and concerns about the project. So I don't want you to think that this is anything other than the first time the planning board's seen this. Okay? So you have plenty of time, so don't get nervous about that.
It was just only just brought to my attention 2 days ago by another resident, and they were like, hey, has anybody heard of this?
Right.
And we all shook our heads and said no.
Well, and the other thing we always do is we always encourage applicants, and I know Mike's aware of this, to meet with the adjoining neighbors and make sure that you have conversations with them even outside the room, so people can exchange information and really have a conversation.
Okay.
We also have in our code a requirement that all these things be addressed. So if at any point there's not enough water, then it can't move forward.
Right.
If the soils are so bad, and there's a lot of shale up there, I know. If the soils are bad, then it won't be supported. So to a large degree, this, if it's coming forward with the recreational center as part of the project, then it's gonna have, everything like that is gonna have to be addressed.
Yes.
Okay, so
I think the shock value for the dozen of us that live right there was one day there was trees and woods, and the next day there wasn't, and no one knew anything about it.
So this area was cleared?
Yes.
When did that happen?
Last month,
Yeah,
before
within the past
Christmas.
few
Yeah,
weeks.
before Christmas. We had a good
Within a couple of
weather and,
days, the area had been cleared,
Okay,
and no one knew why. No one knew that it had sold, and no one knew what was happening until I'm here tonight.
okay, so why would that be if you knew you were coming before us to review this pursuant to seeker?
When I got involved, there had already been, it
Yes.
was brush hogging. This
Yes.
is not clear cut trees. This is not ground disturbance.
yes,
When I did my first walk of the site,
yes,
when Karen brought me on, it was brush hogged and walkable.
mhm,
It was not even walkable, as from what I understand from before that.
mhm.
And there was not an application, but it was not cleared, trees cleared, it was brush cleared.
I did call the town and for the driveway, and I asked questions, and they said I don't need permit to put the trees. But I need permit to have the driveway done and in that manner, so they can give me an address. But for the trees cutting, I don't need a permit for that.
Well, so
And I spoke with Mark or something like that, Yes. At the top. And he sent me to get my DOT in Schenectady town, because I'm not familiar with here. I'm from Rockland County, New City, New York.
So in any event, when we look at this, we're gonna want a full understanding of what was there before it was set down. All right. And, you know, with aerial photography, Google Earth, it'll be very clear what was, you know, what was done. Because there's not supposed to be disturbance of the site before you come in for approvals. And that's the goal.
A majority of it, just so that you have a reference. So this is the Long Energy propane tank here.
Yep.
So it would be almost this entire parcel here has been cleared.
Well, you mean brush hog?
Yeah, but
No, it's all the trees are gone. Like they hired a
No, it's not all
company,
of them.
like all the chippers came in, the
Okay.
trees have been removed.
Only to there though, not further back.
No, not
No, it's
further back.
basically as
The front.
deep as DDS goes and as far as Long Energy goes. So they brought in like the forestry mulchers and basically ran through whatever you can with that and then cut down the remaining trees with that. I mean, some of it you can see, it's all visual right now.
Yeah.
Chris, what's that acreage, you know?
71.6. Well,
No,
No,
that
was
front
the-
area.
It'd be the front part of the L shape.
Because if it's over an acre, it would have needed at least the basic soil.
When I walked on the ground was not disturbed ground. And again, I know what you guys are getting at, and it's happened before Karen came to me, but from what she thought she could do, she brush hogged the land.
Yeah.
I walked on the land, it was not bare dirt, and it isn't now. So I don't think anyone would wanna go there or would, if they did go there, would say that there's been any sort of ground disturbance or grading of the property.
So it hasn't been grubbed?
I don't believe so, no, they were cutting, anything they cut at ground level, they didn't pull any stumps,
No,
right?
no, they don't do it yet. Just to walk it, you know,
Some-
even see you know.
As Teresa has articulated, this is the reason we have what we call sketch plan review.
Right.
This is the very first
Yep.
step in a long process.
Mhm.
That's going to be very detailed in this particular
Mhm.
project because there seems to be a lot of issues.
Right.
So don't get too alarmed.
No.
You'll have,
Yeah,
you'll be here
exactly.
next month,
Right.
months after, what,
Right.
you're,
Right.
you know. So it'll give you your own seat. But these projects,
I don't really wanna be here.
no, it's a nice place to be on Thursday, come on. Yeah. But, you know, we'll assure the board's very thorough and under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. There's a lot of tripwires in there that you have to cross, okay? You got all sorts of environmental analysis, stormwater, water supply, you know, drainage. The road is I think, a very big issue. I'm not sure the town would be receptive at all to another road. So the cost of that might be a deal killer. I'm not, you know, the cost is not our business, but, you know, things to consider that if it's based on the town taking over the road, that makes the project more viable. That's kind of, you may want to hedge your bets on that one, but, there's a lot to it. And, you know, the occupation of the 1,000 seat
Seats,
facility or whatever it is, could there be any overnight accommodations if it's a conference? You know, if there is, that's a whole nother, you know, what's an overnight accommodation? It could go from one night to 1 month to a week. You know, and the clientele that will occupy that, is it rehabilitation or is it recreation or is it, you know, there's so many questions that have to be answered and disclosed before the board would have any chance of moving forward. Okay, so you got a lot of homework to do on this, but you're more than welcome to participate in these, and that's why we go to the sketch review on these. So I think you know the issues. There's a lot of sensitivity to things on this. And, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there was talk about summer camp, like, you
Yeah.
know, childcare. You know, all these things have different code requirements that would all have to be
We know.
hashed out, you know, that are.
That's what needs to be
We
part
are
of
well
what an
educated for
actual
that, we
business
used to
plan.
that.
Yeah, and, you know,
And I don't,
we're talking, this is millions of dollars for a project, and we had a recreational facility in the village of Delanson that has gone through 4 owners because we can't, the town can't support this business, you know, this business model. It just,
and we can't segment the project, you know, you can't say, well, we know you're gonna build this someday, and we'll give you, you know, 80% of the cake, but, you know, we know 20% is still in the plan, so you can't segment any portions of the project, we have to see the project as a whole, you know, and that's the way, how we would like to present it, you know.
And we know that, and that's why we're here
Mhm.
presenting this as a
Yeah.
master concept.
We're entertaining any and all ideas, that's what our purpose is, you know.
What I would want to, or want to leave you with as far as trying to get to the bottom of is the town road, and is there any consideration to accept it? And we can talk to highway or whoever needs to make that to give that answer, but that would dictate basically the whole right side. If there's no interest in taking the road, there's a single house, and then the whatever recreation activity would figure out its own driveway, but we would like to get that figured out now before plans proceeded. And then I think I heard the board loud and clear on business plan, activities, specifics, frequencies, activities, overnight, all that. There needs to be a robust business plan before we did any more planning, sketch planning of the recreation type activities. This size, smaller, I don't imagine larger, but this size or smaller, that business plan would be hashed out and shown to you before that, but.
So Chris, just to be clear, and this is just a process issue as well. The town board decides whether or not to accept dedication of new roads. So you should go to the new town highway super and to the town supervisor, Mr. Wenzel. And they would be able to give you a sense of, you know, whether the town board is interested in taking responsibility for future maintenance and operation of the road and the stormwater system associated with that. Okay, so they're the ones, I mean, all the planning board does is, you know, we review it for arrangement and does it meet the town standards? But the planning board is not the entity that accepts it for dedication. So, and there've been very few in the town that have been accepted for dedication. Sage Hill, Delavan, Wood, whatever that is. Woodstone, sorry, Chris. So not many, and most of those have had a substantial number of houses, not, you know, not 3. You know what I'm saying? So.
I do know what you're saying, and, you know, I do hear, so we'll talk to the highway superintendent and the town supervisor. But I would like to kind of give you the picture, the mind picture of what the alternative to get the required number of houses on a road, or the perceived number of houses on a road that would sustain or support that road, and that is, you know, something with you could have 2 access on whole entire loop, right? It would not, a single cul-de-sac would have limitations, but this entire parcel, you know, I mean, it could have been considered, and here we thought that this was pretty condensed area and, you know, consideration for the entire 70 acres. I mean, yes, that would have its own challenges and there'd be a different type of discussion there, but you know, maybe this is the start to the pitch that we'll have to make to the highway superintendent and the town supervisor of whether or not they would consider the 930 feet of road. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but you know, there's countless other ways we could have approached this, or Karen could have approached this owning this property now. As far as considering it for development, and I know there are wetlands and other stuff to the west, but. We thought it was pretty condensed as far as actual disturbance and impacts, but.
I mean, I can tell you, the cost of building town roads, the longer you make that road, we don't have dense enough lots that you're gonna come out on the positive for the road construction. I can tell you that. The lot sizes in Williamsburg are too big for road construction to be affordable.
So in an instance like this, are they responsible to pay for the road? Okay.
Yes.
Where Delavan was a little different, that was a development,
No,
Right.
they paid for the road.
someone paid, okay.
Yeah.
But
they're-
not the long-term maintenance, and
No.
that's where the cost, you have to offset that with, essentially taxes
Uh-huh.
on the parcels.
Right.
From the parcel.
Okay, so the initial build is at her expense.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's where, by saying we're gonna have a loop road in there that's, 4,000 feet long.
Mhm.
Our lot sizes in Williamsburg, the lot sizes are so big and the houses are so spread out.
Mhm.
That there's not enough lots to offset the cost of a road.
Right,
Sure.
right.
Under normal building circumstances, it's not, if you wanna lose money.
At what point does it become, you need a second, let's say there was a massive fire in there. They need another way out of a cul-de-sac. So at what point does it become, you need two entrances to this facility? Like, there's gotta be a number to that, right? You understand what I'm trying to say?
It's the building code, Chris, and I believe it's 35
Yeah, it's a
houses
lot.
on a dead end before you need second means of egress. That's for single family
That's for
residential.
residents, correct.
But that commercial building, that's a
I don't even
different,
know.
that's a different animal.
I don't know.
And you would have to look at that to see if that would require TV.
Cause there's no other road frontage on Scary Turnpike, correct? That does not continue up for road
No.
frontage?
No.
So the only access point is next to Long Energy.
Route 20 right there.
I'll look at that, but I do believe that number is going to be very large as well. I know of many facilities that are larger than this, but just a single driveway. It's not. But
I don't know
I
what
don't
it
mean
is
to
for-
digress on the whole conversation in talking about the big loop, or talking about, alternatives. I didn't mean to go there, but I just wanted to kind of make the point of. Yes, this road is, to some it may seem long at 900 feet and not affordable. To Karen, it didn't, based on what she had in her mind as far as a business plan for this center. We're gonna continue to hash that out. If she can't prove those numbers, that the center supports the road, then this goes in a different direction. But if she's got the backers and the right business plan, I know you said other operators have not been successful. Doesn't mean anything about Karen and whether or not she would succeed here, I don't know.
Two different things.
Right, now, the road was a way to get some additional residence space on here, because there was a large expense with a long driveway anyway. If that's not allowable, then this thing becomes a recreation center with possibly one additional house on the other side of it. With the same amount of pavement and parking and driveway being built anyway.
Do you guys have any other questions?
I think we put enough questions out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we thank you for your presentation. We've got
Well done, thank
a
you.
lot of homework to do.
Thank you.
And, we're here every third Thursday of every month. And we'll wait to hear back.
And this doesn't need to be tabled, right, because it's just a new business.
It's just sketch.
Okay.
Just the sketch plan, and that's the purpose of tonight's meeting, is to introduce the concept. Got some feedback.
Yes.
It's fine to table it though, then you always have the record and.
Yeah, well, all right, I'll make a motion to table the Michelle Kareem major 4-lot subdivision and recreational facility until our February 20th meeting. Any submittals that you have that you'd like the board to entertain, be submitted 2 days prior to that meeting, which would be February 10th.
February 10th.
Math, right? It's just 20 minutes, 10 is 10. So
Correct, I think I'm right, last I checked.
Yeah. And then we'll proceed, you know, it's a process, we'll follow it. Teresa is well versed in these types of facilities and, you know, we go.
Appreciate it.
So I'll second that.
Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Board Member Hoffman,
Yes.
Board Member Howard.
Yes.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
We have to table this. We have to table
Okay, we're gonna move on to
Yeah.
new business.
Yeah.
That was kind of a prolonged discussion, but it was well worth hearing. We appreciate some of the input that the members of the audience gave to the board. Just remember the rules of these meetings are, you always engage in conversation with the board, not with anybody in the audience who could be a potential applicant. So address the board and the privilege of the board. The board. The next under new business is Robert Rockway.
Jeff, I think we have to table the new business because she was on sketch plan and new business.
And especially.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Just so we get second.
Yeah, under new business.
Yeah.
Michelle Kareem was on new business also, and we're gonna table that till the February 20th meeting.
Second that.
Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Board Member Hoffman.
Yes.
Board Member Howard.
Yes.
And remember, the agendas are always posted before the meeting.
Yeah.
And I think the packet with all the material, with all the material in it is also posted.
Yeah.
So it's right on the town website, just Google Dwaynesburg and it'll pop up.
Yeah. Thanks for your input, and it's important if you're a neighbor, and, you know. as a-
Hopefully I won't be alone on the next Thursday.
You're
I got kind of, you're not gonna be. Okay, Robert Brockway. 272 North Road.
Yeah.
It's the source of fencing authorities.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm speaking.
I'm kind of already doing it, so I guess I needed to get a special use permit, so that's why I'm here. So I own Phoenix Fence and I got 6 acres there and I store my fence material there for my business. And that's where my guys meet in the morning when we go do a job.
Is it a residence on one parcel and you're storing a?
No, that's just 6 acres that I subdivided off from my parents.
Okay.
And it's on North Road. I own property on Riley Road. That's where I live.
Okay, so there's no building, just
Nope.
it's a yard.
Yep, just a driveway, yard and materials.
North Road is like right in the hamlet of Dwaynesburg, right?
No, it's next batter and.
Oh, okay. Oh, I
What's
see.
it, 159, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if you got a driveway permit. Did you guys get a driveway?
No, I mean,
Yeah, and the north is a town road.
So is there a plan we can put up?
it's all kind of already there.
Well, that's like not helping your case.
I'm just letting you know, I kind of grew and it kind of just happened. So I apologize.
He did call me up and he kind of told on himself.
Okay.
So I
We
said,
appreciate
I
that.
said, we get it figured out.
Is the green one on the box that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this the one that
Where
we
would be the
subdivided
driveway?
for a single?
The driveway's off
Yes.
North Road.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you were here a couple years ago.
Yes, and I was gonna build a house and then it was gonna cost $600,000-$700,000 and then 10697 Riley Road popped up and I jumped on it
Okay,
and
Oh.
bought that and I was
so
like,
the driveway, I think you put the driveway in along the south side of the parcel to the.
yeah, I could point it out if you want.
Yeah, please, go
Okay.
ahead. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, when was that? That was,
Probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, I put the driveway in right here, right across all the way to the back and then
Yeah.
all back here where I got all my equipment, materials.
now, is there, and I'm not super familiar about Greenwood, is there a stream in the bottom of?
There's a
between the-
stream up over here by this pond, so the stream runs right here and that's actually on the other property.
Lindsay, can you go to Google Earth to pop on the satellite view?
It's not part of the presentation.
It's gonna cost you.
Yeah, I can do that. Bear with me.
And the lot is 3 clear the, what's,
Oh, yeah.
it's cleared or tree?
Oh, there's all different kinds of stuff. I took trees down, I replanted trees, I planted all apple trees and cherry trees.
Okay.
That I took down and.
Is there a big gravel parking lot or?
No, no. It was all scale. that's what I-
Patterson over.
Explain that. Open it. Yeah, we do.
Oh,
And
nice.
use this satellite view in the upper right corner.
Yes.
Change it to satellite, there you go.
I can't do that. Way to go.
It's not cool, awesome. Just cool, yeah, right there, right there.
Yeah,
Well done.
Yeah, I'm right over here, so you can't see any of this now, because this is all different.
Yeah, so that's all clear now, it's all better.
It was all pine tree stuff.
So is it right next to the goat farm?
Yeah,
It's up
I have people
closer to-
driving up my driveway all the time to the go farm. I put a gate up because literally people would drive down there all the time.
And no neighbor on backside, it's all this.
No, I mean, there's one neighbor here.
And where's about the yard about?
Back there, yeah. I mean, I grew up in that house. I've been here since '96. I mean, all the neighbors know me. Yeah, I used to ride my four-wheeler dirt bike around, so it's not a. Just came here. It's not like I just said, hey, one day I'm gonna do fence. My grandfather was my uncle fence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I grew up doing this.
So what do we, is it get to a public hearing and everything?
Yeah, we do, unfortunately.
Because it's a commercial business that.
Storage,
Yes.
It's just
storage
kids.
facility.
I mean, no customers come in.
No, we
Oh, okay,
understand,
okay.
we understand. We're just trying to figure out where you fit into the code, which is always a challenge. So which district is it, Chris?
R2.
R2?
Yep.
Okay, let me just.
Someday maybe, but you have to come back for that.
Yeah.
When it had $400,000 for, 5,500.
Okay, so that's R2 is under 8.3. Uses, or excuse me, 8.4 uses permitted by special use permit. So where does that fit, Chris?
That's the thing. Is this allowed under there? I think.
Here's the businesses that are allowed: public garage, kennel, natural production use, office building for more than one business occupant, recreational center, country club, sawmill, school, private, wind facility. So the site plan. Yeah, I don't see any uses under site plan.
Really, this would be contractor's yard or?
Yeah, let's see if we have a definition for that in our excellent code. Yep, there's no definition for contractors yard.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna run into this again in about 2 more applications, so you're gonna be well versed on this.
Yeah, I don't see anything like, is there any provision in here, Chris, for outside storage of construction materials or
No.
anything like that?
No.
So,
So in talking to Dale about this, he said if things like this were to come up, like the guy up on, the corner of Chadwick Road and Harry Turnpike is kind of using this property for the same thing.
Yeah.
He had to have a special use permit. because it was considered a commercial storage facility.
Okay, all right, so is commercial storage facility under that? I didn't read commercial storage facility. This is.
Oh, I think storage facilities in there, I'd have to get my ordinance. It's like, okay.
So if it's not an approved use, do they have to go to zoning
Yep,
first,
no,
get a zoning variance?
yeah. Yeah, I don't see, I mean, it's R2. We've got permitted uses, which is agriculture, bed and breakfast, dwelling, equine facility, family daycare home, private garage, group family daycare home, public utility use, roadside stand, stable. None of those. Uses requiring site plan approval, ambulance building, antique shop, bank, cluster development, commercial cemetery, craft shop, firehouse, home occupation, library, municipal building, facility, park or playground, museum, office building for one business occupant, post office and religious institution. And then I already read through the uses permitted by special use permit, and
What was it? Was it residential business? What I heard you saying?
that's a home occupation. And the problem is there's no home there,
Yeah,
right? So we're disqualified by that one. So, and I don't see any.
so what happens if my parents own the property that connects to it? Does that not make a difference then? Cause they own 11071 Rival Road, and that's what we subdivided that land off of.
Yeah, well. Did Dale think there was any catch-all provision somewhere here? I mean, I'm just not seeing it, Chris, you know. Is there somewhere in the supplemental regulations where there might be something?
So, I mean. If he goes to zoning could grant a variance for the
Yep.
use.
Yep.
And then he would come back with a special use permit.
He wouldn't need a special use permit from us if he got a use variance.
Okay,
I don't think unless there's some catch-all provision here that says if you get a use variance, you have to go back to the planning board for, special use permit, but I think
So
that's
they would be reviewing it also for like setbacks and
Everything.
like design and all that stuff.
screening
Yeah.
if,
Right.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
Separation from the wetlands or water body or anything like that.
right. Yeah, I don't,
Is there any chance that zoning board would look into us to do all that stuff?
I don't see how they, or why they would, because they would do the seeker and do the whole thing
Okay.
up front.
Okay.
And then, so, let's see, if you look at the use variances, that's in 14.5.2. And there's separate procedures for that, but there's, because the use is literally not on the list, there's no provision in the code to come back for special use permit.
Can I ask a question? Just because this is gonna pertain to me too.
Yeah.
So are there prohibited uses that are enumerated in the code?
Any use that's not approved is prohibited. That's the way it's written.
So the planning board doesn't have to, if a specific use is not spelled out, the planning board does not have the discretion to make the determination.
No, that's when it goes to the zoning board of appeals. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's such a thing as a home occupation business permit. which the zoning board of appeals, it says, the zoning board of appeals shall perform site plan review of all applications for home occupation business permits. And there's findings for that. So I guess,
For storage.
But zoning won't issue a special use permit, right? They don't have the authority to issue a special use permit, do they?
no, but if they issue a use variance, then it's an approved.
Now it's an approved
permit
use
site.
for that lot.
Yeah.
But will we still end up having to come back to the planning board?
No, that's what I asked, no.
Okay.
No, I don't think so, no.
Now, what about the one with a garage? Yeah, it said something about a special use garage. What's the difference if, let's say, I plan on building a garage and I just stored cars out there, material, I mean, there's a difference there?
Well, so.
And what's your
Let me-
definition of a
let me-
garage? Is
Let me
is it-
flip back.
Yeah,
Sorry, Chris, I cried.
That's all right, we aim to solve all problems here. So, so you can have a public garage and you can also have a private garage, all right? And that's under, the private garage is associated with a house typically, but we have granted special use permits for garages. So you could, if you wanted to erect a garage there, that would be one way to deal with it. You know, public or private. Presumably, you're not selling any materials out of here, so it would be private. And, you know, the other way too is to talk to the ZBA about considering it a home occupation, because it's right next to your parents' house. You know, you could try that.
I mean, my house is, I walk there sometimes,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. Well, nobody wants to stop you from doing this. It's just that the zoning code is not always accommodating.
Okay.
You know, it just doesn't contemplate it. So Chris, you and Dale need to make a determination as to what approvals he needs to get, okay? But it looks like, at least initially, with the proposal to just keep things as they are, it doesn't easily fit into anything the planning board can do.
So they would need a use variance.
Or a home occupation permit. The ZBA also grants those.
Yeah.
Or he could propose to put up a garage, you know, some kind of a structure, and then it would be a garage and he would come back here for site plan. And if it's private, he wouldn't need much.
I mean, I will say whatever route you go, you're gonna need your survey updated to show where the driveway is, where your storage yards are, where the materials are gonna be, you know, quantities, estimates, you know.
I can tell you all that stuff now if you really want it, but,
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's gotta be documented.
it's gotta be on the plan.
okay.
So you're gonna need that, whether you're presenting it to the zoning board or whether you're presenting it to
So
us.
I think the stuff I gave you guys had a newer survey and I think it was just on the screen. So just drawing on there where things are.
Your surveyor,
Yeah, like it, you can't just draw it on there, it's gotta
Oh,
be,
so I gotta pay somebody that went to college, yeah, okay.
well, it's gotta be stamped to what's actually on
Okay.
the ground.
Well, and just so you know,
I mean, I draw pictures all day, that's what I was asking.
the manufacturing and light industrial district C2 is the only district in which storage facilities are permitted by special use permit, okay?
Mhm.
And you're not in that,
Yeah,
okay?
all I'm saying is your plan that you present is gonna have to be detailed enough to show what the operations of your business are, where they take place on the property, what percentage of the property is taken up with them, how that business is
Mhm.
going to affect the neighboring properties, visuals, noise, whatever it may be that's
Got it.
associated with your business.
okay,
You gotta take all that into account in your plan to say, this is, you know, basically how I'm gonna mitigate it. So no one gets pissed off at me.
I mean, nobody has at all
Yeah,
yet.
but
I
it
just,
also is to help you so that if you go through the process, and you get approval, and then the neighbor has a problem, you're like, I'm following, I can do
Yeah.
this, but I have a permit to do this, so that it's to help you too, so
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, the next house over sells and they have a problem with it, you can like, no, I have this, I can do this.
I got another question though. Does the Maryville Goat Farm have a special use permit?
It's an
Yeah,
agricultural
it's
use. Okay.
That's their loophole.
It's not, I mean, goats are.
Oh, it's more than that. I mean, they have people coming and going all the time from God knows where these people are coming from, driving down my driveway all the time.
And they have no right to go down your driveway.
Oh,
just
I
to
put up
be-
a gate and they open the gate.
Yeah.
So I had to put cameras up.
Hey, you got apple trees and cherry trees, man.
Oh.
You're in agricultural use.
Yeah, what's the
Your
difference?
apple trees and cherry trees are viewed with great favor.
Is that where they do goat yoga?
Yeah.
Yes, that's where they do.
Oh, that's actually a thing.
Oh, it's a
It is a
thing.
thing, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think that was real.
Oh.
yoga?
No, the people do the yoga, the goats jump on their back.
On their back?
Yeah.
Things they do in Waynesburg.
It's actually very
Where I
popular. So,
Can I go back to my next,
Yes.
so we're gonna table you for tonight, and
Okay.
then Chris is gonna get in contact with you and let
Okay.
you know where you need to go next.
Okay,
It may be the ZBA.
okay.
Nobody wants to stop you from doing what you're doing,
Okay.
but we
Oh,
gotta
I
fit it in
appreciate
the
it.
right spot.
No, I understand. That's why I
Okay.
came in. I was just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
So I'll make a motion to table the Robert Broadway, special use permit, whatever that may be. So, for next week, February. Second.
okay, Vice Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Chairman Schmidt.
Yeah.
Board Member Hoffman.
Yes.
Board Member Howard.
Yes.
Next on the agenda. Gabriel Medina. Pizza. Delivery to-
How you doing, guys?
Thanks for your patience.
How we doing? Seeking permit for pizza place in the old Quaker Inn. That's gonna be pick up, carry out, real quick and easy fast food, kind of like everything else down in food. Looking to maybe expand and have some people there working. While I'm doing my other job at the union, so we'll be working all day long, and I will be too. So, that's just there. What's there right now? Enter and exit, as you see. In the back will be parking. Across the full Route 7, next to Lizzie's Gibby's, you guys don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been down for a while, but I'm looking to open it up and get it running, you know, leave food around here and it'll be good to have a good pizza place.
So no dining?
Oh, no,
Plan on liquor license
no,
bar?
no. Pizza, Italian food,
Okay.
quick, fast, easy.
So it's all takeaway?
Yeah.
All takeaway, okay. So is this C1 zone, Chris? What is?
No,
it?
this is in the Hamlet.
Oh, it's in the Hamlet.
There was a apartment above the two-story part.
The old side,
Yeah,
it's gutted,
so no intent, no.
nothing, nope.
Are you gonna do anything with that?
I'm
space?
gonna close that off and use just this side.
Oh, okay, so you're not even gonna.
I'm not gonna do anything on that old side.
That site needs some serious help.
Serious work,
Oh, really?
yeah, any help. So I'll shut that down and run.
My
the other side.
recommendation to him was to get rid of that. And just have,
It's that bad?
Yeah,
it's not in good shape.
no,
Okay.
Because didn't we have this proposal for this building for the,
For a bar restaurant.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think one of the main things was getting the parking in the back, so you know, on the street. I can't remember if there were other questions. Are you, do you own it or are you
No.
leasing it?
no, I'm gonna be renting it.
Okay. Yeah, I think our main thing is keeping the parking around the back, because the, you know, the sight lines and the structure in the front is really not conducive to parking.
Correct.
Is there really enough room for 13 parking spots?
Oh, that's just
In the back?
I mean, if people are gonna be in and out, you know what I mean, it'll be fast, no one's gonna be staying there, you know? That was just a guesstimate, I just,
I mean, yeah, like
but you're gonna have
the
some people
previous
working there, you know?
gentleman was like, we're gonna need an actual
Right,
site plan, but for the first go at it, at least we have an idea of where you're going with it.
right.
So and all he needs is site plan approval, because 9.3
24.
24,
Yep.
a restaurant, so. So how many spots, how many spaces does he need, Chris, for a restaurant? Is it based on square footage? Is it based on, what's it based on?
So it's usually based on seating, but he's not seating anybody. That's why this is a tricky one. This is just takeout. So
So how many square feet is the place? It says one for each 100 square feet of total floor area, a restaurant, bar, nightclub.
oh,
That's just what it looks like inside.
And what is that?
That bar section's got all the bees.
It's not
It's
very
really
big.
tiny.
40, 50 feet maybe?
yeah, it's probably, if I had to just guess, it could probably have 1,000 square feet.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not big.
10 spots.
10 spots, okay.
And that might be over, you know, that's 50 by 20. But the kitchen takes up a big portion of that too. So,
Yeah, you wouldn't count the kitchen.
yeah, that's what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's definitely less than 1,000. Probably significant less than 1,000.
Okay, so you guys need a site plan showing where the parking will be and that it meets requirements. That way we know we don't have to send you to the ZBA. It's a much quicker trip.
So if you give us an improved site plan. Schedule your, the next meeting, February 20th, in which we could.
Yeah.
Administratively approve at that point, right? Or not
Well,
until hearing.
It's a type 2 action because it's a replacement in time.
Yeah.
And it's, if anything, fewer impacts.
Yeah, there's
So-
no special use permit or anything
No.
like that, no public hearing, so.
You don't even have to have a public hearing for this.
I mean, isn't he here for the special use permit? So does
I-
that require the,
Well, there
or at least
is
that's
no
what it was on
requirement for a special use permit.
Okay.
Why did we think it needed a special use permit?
I just think that's a mistake on the thing.
oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, cause I don't think so. I think it's just site plan.
No, it's just like.
Okay.
Teresa, does the board need to take any action if you provide special site plan?
No, we do. We have to review the site
Yeah,
plan.
it's gotta
That's
be
our requirement.
I would also include your business hours, all that kind of stuff, you know, in your, as we talked about, in your business plan, basically, in your write-up.
Number of employees.
Yeah, where your dumpster's gonna be, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay. So we can schedule, yes, we'll make a motion to table this till the February 20th meeting.
Do you, well, before, I mean, do you think you'll be able to get a site plan by next month, or do you want more time?
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's say I gave you some numbers of,
Yeah,
so. I think he knew this was coming, like,
Right.
this was probably coming, okay?
Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, we'd like to see that happen, so that,
So-
stuff in
Lindsay, what's the day he needs that in, 10
10
days?
days.
before-
10 days
February
prior
10th.
to the.
Okay, let me just check one thing here. I just want to make sure that we're right about not needing a public hearing. I wanna have a surprise.
Teresa, if we went through the record, we had it, and owner of this,
A public hearing may or may not be required.
okay.
14.6.1.6, so if he's gonna use it for what it was originally used for,
Yeah.
so. I don't, I remember it was more complicated last time. I'm not sure why. I think you might have been expanding it or
I
something.
remember something about music.
Music.
Yeah.
liquor license.
Yeah.
Well, he was trying to open it back up as a bar.
A bar, restaurant, yeah.
A bar restaurant.
Okay. So next time, if the site plan's in order, you know, then they could go ahead and approve it.
Okay. All right, guys.
All right, so you made a motion to table it, I'm gonna second that, okay.
Just make sure you have good pizza.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Hey, you have a good night, guys.
Chairman Schmidt,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Harris,
Yes.
Board Member Hoffman,
Yes.
Board Member Howard.
Yeah.
The next activity is the structural work company, again, a commercial storage facility in the R2 zone. I think you're in this, maybe in the same position.
Sounds that way, but I've sat here this long, I might as well get your.
You might as well get your, yeah, you
Yes.
gotta get your blood flowing here.
Yeah. Can you pull up the, I don't know what Henry Highway is or
That,
All right.
that was on the application.
heavy highway. Henry Highway sounds like.
The bottom.
So I'm Kyle Lucas, I'm here on behalf of ING Civil and the Structure 4 companies, which is their holding company. So this parcel on Dwaynesburg Road, we're proposing to use for a storage yard. ING Civil is a civil engineering firm. They do heavy highway road construction, build bridges throughout New York State, municipalities, counties. So they have all sorts of construction equipment, excavators, loaders, traffic bollards, you know, the flashing signs that you see on the side of the highway that can be edited to say whatever message. So this parcel is 81 acres. It's in the R2 zone. We were here for a special use permit based on business suggestion. But it's worth noting that it's my understanding this parcel was previously approved for a large solar installation. And I did not hear that as a specific use that was mentioned in any of the R2 discussion.
It's covered in the solar law.
Oh,
which
it's a
was
special,
adopted.
it's specific,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
separate. So obviously what we would be proposing is far less invasive to the overall site than the solar, the site plan that I saw for the solar was like,
That was the one that had the road all the way back and.
it was, all of this was cleared with solar
Right,
installation.
right.
That, I mean, that was quite a while ago.
That was a long
And
time
was
ago.
land to be cleared or it
Yeah.
is clear?
No, it was planned to be cleared. This is all fully wooded right now. With the exception of 2 mystery trailers that we still have no idea whose those are.
Really?
Yeah, not clear.
Do you guys own the property?
No, we have a contract to purchase it contingent upon approval to use it for what we want.
And they don't know whose campus is.
You the sellers do, but I don't think he resides in the United States, so I doubt he knows.
That's awesome.
So, you know, in the event that we do get kicked back to the planning board, I would welcome any comments at this point, questions.
I mean, one of the things we just talked about is that on there's a proposed garage.
Yeah,
So at this point, we are not proposing to construct the garage. Chris had suggested that in the future, we may consider, and at that time, we would obviously seek the appropriate.
All I was saying that for is that makes it,
Well, this,
well, it wouldn't necessarily need a variance purely right on the storage yard if there is associated with the garage. It would still need a special use permit.
Right. That's what I heard earlier, I think. Right?
that was a,
How do you classify a private garage?
Yeah,
or a public
that- yeah,
garage?
this-
Or
yeah,
question.
Private public garage.
when I hear public garage, to me, that's a
Repair.
auto
Yeah,
repair
auto
shop.
repair, yeah.
But this would not be acceptable by the public, it would be only.
Correct.
So.
Correct. And, you know, the nature of this
okay,
business.
here, let me interrupt just a second. Garage private, an enclosed space not available to the public for the storage of one or more motor vehicles. Garage public, any garage other than a private garage available to the public operated for gain and which is used for the storage, repair, rental, servicing, adjusting, or equipment of automobiles or other motor vehicles.
Yeah, so repair, it's a,
For the public.
Well, I mean, he does operate a for-profit business, so.
Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, it's good that your business is operating for gain, I get that, but it's not available to the public,
Right,
right?
right. So
No.
it could be classified as a private garage.
Only if you wanna keep one or more motor vehicles in it. I
Sure.
mean,
Do you classify an excavator as a motor vehicle?
not one you'd want me to drive.
Yeah, but then how do you justify 10 acres of impervious behind?
Well, no, I mean, there's the whole.
It's pervious.
rest of it. Pervious.
It would be crusher road, it's not, we're not.
You're
Crusher
used-
Road is impervious.
Oh, it is
The use
considered
is-
impervious, okay.
The use is really not allowed
I
in
know.
this zone.
I have a philosophy degree, I have to try.
Yeah.
It is also worth mentioning that the nature of his business, 9 to 10 months out of the year, the equipment's all on job sites. This is not heavy traffic. I would say early spring through late fall, early winter. Everything's on a job site. There may be a bridge truss that gets delivered before it goes to the actual job site, but this is not an active, day in, day out yard by any stretch of the imagination.
The adjoining properties of those homes.
I believe that these are just wooded parcels, there's like a. Or something there?
Usual thing.
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's way up on the road.
that's right there, I think.
Oh, the old hotel,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
And we do have two access points, and like the parcel obviously comes around that way. There's a little bit of topography down from Dwayneburg Road, kind of slopes down just slightly, but we would be. This is millions
That's
equipment,
Richard.
there's a lot of people knowing it's there,
No, I didn't, yeah.
screened from the roadway.
Where's the nearest residential houses?
Needful thing.
Well, I believe there's a resident in Needful Things, I'm not,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then Dick Hoffman's property.
The Collins? I mean, the other thing you could do is you could go for a rezoning, but
So his property, there's a house. Then it's that property, then it's Needful Things, and then it's the property again. So the address here is actually before Needful Things, but all of his stuff is gonna be past Needful Things, so the address would have to be corrected too.
And we only discovered that there is an actual formal address associated with it thanks to Chris because of the previous proof. The broker who's marketing the property for sale on behalf of the current owner did not think that there's a formal address associated with it.
the solar project was approved, it just never got built.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you have two choices. You can go to the town board and ask for a rezone, or you can go to ZBA and ask for a use variance.
It's quicker.
It's quicker.
Variance.
That's a tough.
How often does the ZBA meet?
Once a month, yeah.
Okay. But there's no form, like in other municipalities I work in, you have to be formally denied by the planning board in order to go before the zoning board of appeals?
No, you get formally denied by Chris.
Okay,
That's what you do.
Okay.
And then you go.
okay,
It's not the planning board.
okay.
We don't have a role if it's not allowed on the site.
I mean, you are gonna need a full SWIP for this project.
Well, there was a SWIP done for the solar project.
Doesn't
So it's gonna
matter.
be different.
Totally different. Okay,
You're gonna need stormwater, you're gonna need wetland delineation. Highway work permit, driveway permit from DOT, got a lot of things that need to get done for the site plan. I mean, it seems like it. As long as they give you the variance, I mean, it seems like it can be done here.
Yeah, but I mean, have you looked at other places in town where it is allowed?
they're not on the market. This property is being actively marketed for sale. And based on, I did have a couple conversations with Chris, and this was the avenue that we chose to pursue. It's just coincidental that you happen to have something very similar prior to.
Yeah, I mean, we can't have construction yards all over town in
Right.
residential areas, so. I mean, unless the town board wants to amend the zoning to allow it, which is gonna lead to a lot of other issues.
I would think a rezone would take a lot more time.
I would start with the ZBA.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
They're very reasonable people.
So I'll talk with Chris.
You'll need a formal determination from Chris and the building department
Okay.
as to when,
I mean, the one good thing about this site is it's all trees, so you have good buffers
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
and that would be our.
keep it in the back,
Our objective
out
would
of sight,
be-
out of mind,
Yeah.
you know, so I
Absolutely.
think that's a positive for you.
right, and there is a public hearing associated with
Understood.
that. So if you, if you've reached out to Needful.
Mhm.
Are they aware of this proposal at all?
That's my knowledge.
Okay, you should reach out to your neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, anybody within 1,000 feet is gonna get noticed, so.
That's the public hearing, yeah.
So procedural, though, we would go before the ZBA initially, and then they would choose to advance it, and that's when the public hearing would be scheduled for the next meeting?
Usually there's the ZBA is a little bit different, so it's always a public meeting.
Right.
But usually you go first once. And they make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, and then they schedule the public hearing.
Okay.
In some places, it's a public hearing every time you're there, but we try not to.
Okay.
Make it,
Okay.
that difficult.
So would they have to come back here after the ZBA?
I don't believe so. Because there's nothing in the zoning code that says they have to come back here for a site plan or special use permit.
It would only be if they chose not to be lead agency.
No, we're not an involved agency, we have no approval.
Question, if we were granted the use variance by the ZBA and we ever wanted to dispose of the property, would the potential purchaser have to come and get an additional use variance?
Depends, if they're gonna do exactly what you were doing, they should not.
Okay,
But if there's a change, if it's bigger, if it's different stuff, then they will. Yeah, we gotta table it.
yeah. So I'll make a motion to table the structure for companies until the February 20th, 2025 meeting.
Well, we're not tabling it for companies, right?
Yeah.
You just said-
We're tabling it and.
If they never come back.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it was lovely sitting through the hour and a half of.
All right, so you got a plan.
I gotta get with Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
Okay.
All right.
I can have that.
Yeah. Nicholas and.
I'm just glad you both came. and
Yes.
Board member Houghton.
Yes.
Chairman Schmidt.
Yes.
Board member Houghton.
Yes. Thank you.
Next, Nicholas and Adriana Wallach.
That's me.
You.
That's me. My wife's at home, so apologies. My name is Nicholas Mullen, and we live at 5358 Western Turnpike. And we are looking for a special use permit to build an addition onto our house for my mother and father to come live with us, so we can take care of them.
You want to conclude this?
I've gone through enough coming up to this point, talking with my parents over the last year, discussing this, so I've gotten to this point, I might as well, I'm here, so.
You're very close to town hall, I think.
I am our addresses have the same numbers. I think you are 5853 and I am 5358.
Correct.
So I am very close. We're just down the road.
Down next to the gun shop, right next to.
I'm right next to the gun shop. I'm the blue house, right next to the gun shop.
Cooper's old house.
Cooper's old house. We bought it from Cooper. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, same side of the road as the gun shop.
Yes.
Okay, they go to the gun shop, then the antique place, then his house.
Yeah.
Well, then another house. There's
Well,
a small house and then my house.
That little one.
There's a little house between us.
Did you talk to county about the septic?
So I'm waiting to get a perk test. When ground thaws to figure out where they would do it. We already have an idea of where we want to have it. So when we talk to the gentleman, Chris gave me the information to talk to the gentleman. To come out and do the perk test when the ground thaws. But I will have more information when we know if the ground percolates or not, if we're gonna have to have a raised septic or a in-ground that whole. Currently, my septic right now is in ground. So I don't have a raised, my neighbor doesn't have a raised septic either. Nor does the neighbor next to me, so.
Yeah, that's low in the creek area, there's a lot of gravel right there, so
It may
it may perk fairly well.
So the hatch is existing and then proposed is, yeah.
This is existing, yep, and this is the addition, it's 24 by 40.
And then back further, there's another hatch.
Yeah.
This is our shed.
Okay, and then keep going, there's another house, is that on the, this across the property line?
Yes, property line, so this used to be all of Cooper's,
Okay,
and then prior to us obviously buying it from her, she built this house for her uncle and then subdivided it for her uncle. Uncle passed away, then she sold it to our now neighbors, Dave and Aaron. So their house is here, property line is here.
So it's a shared driveway.
can you choose that property line again?
I think the property line is here,
Oh, okay, all right. All right,
right here, and yes, we do have a shared driveway.
okay.
And the creek runs on the other side of the,
Way on the other side of their house over here, like north exit right here. And then we have one that's way back over by the train tracks, probably 2.5 acres behind our house. Yeah, it is on the other side of Dave's house, it is.
and you're not in the floodplain or anything like that.
Not that I've been told in the 8 years I've been there. We haven't had any issues yet.
Have you had your well looked at yet to make sure that it's got capacity for the two?
So from what I know, being told by our neighbor, from his information with the previous owner, that it is, but I'm having Lawrence Water Wells come out and check it anyways, just to make sure.
You'll have to.
Okay, which is fine. I can have a, and whether we tap into that or have a way to drill another one. My parents are paying for it, so whatever they want to pay for. That's up to them.
And you guys are gonna share the existing driveway.
Correct, yeah, so currently right now, with the shared driveway, normally we'll come in and then we usually have parking behind that shed on our property. We haven't paved it, but it's just our grass, and my parents will just park there, off of the driveway, behind our shed.
Your neighbors who also use the driveway don't have any objections.
And not at all, we are very, very close. My septic is actually on their property. I bought it that way. Don't yell at me.
It's a little
They-
problematic.
They did it. Listen, I'm getting, just like that gentleman, I'm telling on myself here. So just because, as you can see, if you look at my septic or anybody goes there that does, I will have to tell you that, I mean, it's there.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's gonna have to get shown on the plan because,
Correct.
the added use bedrooms are gonna have to be able to be sized. They're gonna, and I think Schenectady County is gonna make them show the expansion zone, probably.
Well, how do you feel about building a new system behind your house? So you don't have to use that
Yeah,
one
if
anymore?
it- I mean, it's,
Cause your other option is get an easement or something. You have to have some right to use it, your septic system.
yeah, I mean, I mean, just from the relationship that I have with my neighbor, if I needed to do any work to my septic, he's completely okay with me taking up his property and all, I mean, my leach field is on his front yard.
I mean, the only issue is that might be the situation today.
Mhm.
But tomorrow, it might not be, they might sell or whatever, so there's gotta be some sort of legal right to do that, either it's on your parcel or an easement. I mean, can we even do that through an easement?
Usually what we would try to do is move the lot line so that the septic is on your lot.
Yeah, and if it's right on the other side of the driveway, that would be like a little bump out.
Well, so here's the driveway,
Yeah.
my leach field is over here, it's not right next to the driveway, I mean, for that to happen, I would take out his front yard. He wouldn't have a front yard. And again, this was all done
Oh, yeah. yeah,
well prior
yeah.
to me moving
And
in.
we run into this, I mean,
My
just down the
goal-
road, we have the same issue with the wells
Yeah.
and the.
It would be infinitely preferable if you just built a new one.
That's our
On
goal,
your
the idea is to get a septic separate for my parents, I don't want them tying in mine.
Well,
Can
it
you
would-
tie into theirs?
My parents, that's absolutely a possibility, depending on whether it's percolating or not, or where the raised or lowered, or I have to have the information on where we'd be able to put it in the backyard, knowing whether I'd be able to tap into it or not. I'd love to, because candidly, we've had issues with our septic.
Okay.
We had issues with it prior to us buying it. You guys stopped the sewer right at the bridge there at the end of my house, thanks. So
Yeah, it's probably 11A.
can we get a special use permit for a little addition to the septic or to the, but, I'm hoping that we'll be able to do a new one in time.
That should be one house away from the zoo.
Wait, thanks, Chris.
Sorry.
Well, I mean,
We sleep over every night.
There happens to be a river in the way. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
Go under the bridge.
So, yeah. In a perfect world, we would be able to put an not a raised, but an underground leach field in our backyard, and then my parents and I would tap in.
Yeah, I mean,
That solves your problem.
Yes.
If you ever wanna sell your house, you really shouldn't have. Somebody shouldn't have let you buy a house with the septic system on somebody else's property. Are you sure there's nothing in the title that gives you the right to have the septic system on the property?
I'd have to double check, but from what I was told, it was done.
but even if he did, that would only be for his house, he wouldn't be able to expand it under that title. Say he did have rights to his septic,
Right.
he wouldn't be
Yeah.
necessarily able
You're only
to
adding one bedroom. right?
increase the size of
It'll be
it for this.
it's 24 by 4.
Second.
It'll be 2 bedrooms. Yes.
Right, well, it depends on what the.
So, yeah,
It might say.
so it literally doesn't even come past the shed. We're gonna do a shared nice deck that connects the two of them.
How many bedrooms are in the current house?
My house has 1, 2, 3, 4 and a 4.5.
You're looking at probably 6 total.
But 4.5, I mean, there's only 4 of us that live in that house.
Yeah.
We used one back.
Well, the septic side up the number of it.
Yeah.
So there's a pretty good chance adding 2 bedrooms. Dom's not gonna let him tie into that existing septic anyway, even if you wanted to.
Yeah,
You know,
So we get a new one.
which is what we talked about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And like I said, they're gonna pay for it, so I don't care what it happens. Do I want a raised in my backyard? Preferably not. But if it gets my parents here, I'll do what I need to do. I mean, it's the stuff that we need to do to make it happen, so I'll do it.
Okay, so there's absolutely no reason why this can't be approved, okay? It's a type 2 action under seeker. It's a double, it's a 2-family, it's like an ADU. So all we need to do is make sure you have enough water and we deal with the sewer septic issue. And as a lawyer, I would say build a new one, have everybody go to the new one. Discontinue the old one, okay? Especially if you're having trouble with it.
Yeah, which would be ideal anyways, again, because it's been a headache, for the last 6 years, 7 years we've been there, so.
Yeah, and presumably your backyard is not wet.
It's not at all.
Okay.
Actually, fortunately, it's dry. Pretty dry. For the amount of water. I mean, I know you mentioned the water tables around it, we're surrounded by a lot of water, so it is quite moist, but the backyard stays quite dry.
yeah.
It's nice.
Like I said, there should be pretty good gravel there. So
I know it's rocky under there.
I think, I don't know, I think you might be able to do a conventional system.
It would be nice.
1 or 2 places in town.
Yeah.
Hey, if I got the right one, then the one or two with I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So do we have any action at this point? We're just looking for more information. Right?
Well, I think we need to set a public hearing.
Yeah.
Because
Can we
it's
do that
especially-
without the rest of the, is that?
Well, I mean. When do you think you'll be able to get the perk information and the well information?
When the perk information can only be took when the ground, from what I was told, thaws. We can't do it when the ground's frozen.
Dom's won't do any perks until minimum end of March.
I was saying, I think when Chris and I talked, it was towards the end of March.
Okay,
And they're not looking, I mean, my parents aren't in a rush either. We're not like, it's not like they need to do this right now. I mean, I'd like to do it this year. We'd like to do it, start, at some point in time this year, but I'm not like, I need to do this. If it takes a month, March to get the perk test, I'm okay with that. My builder is ready to rock when I'm ready.
why don't you schedule the public hearing for April? And then he'll have all the information by then. We can do that, we can schedule it ahead as long as we don't forget. So Lindsay.
Don't let us forget.
I won't
So
forget.
let us forget.
My parents won't let me forget, I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah.
I'll give you the date. February, March. April 17th.
April 17th. Same time? Like
Yeah,
something like
and we
here?
also
Yep.
need to refer it to county planning, so.
I can do that now, or do I have to wait?
No, you can do it now.
Okay.
Steve will just tell us to make sure there's sewer and water.
So I'll make a motion to schedule the public hearing for the Nicholas and Adriana Bolick.
Mala, but thank you.
Special use permit for April 17th.
Second that,
All right, Vice Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Chairman Schmidt.
yes.
Board Member Hoffman.
Yes.
Board Member Howe.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
All right, good. Next is under other, we had Phil Alana, who's gonna put the smokehouse on, Hickory Hill Smokehouse. Temporarily.
So he's not here, but I told him he didn't need to be here.
Yeah, okay.
So you did we did a resolution last time.
Yeah.
And it just now needs to say Filippo A. Alada and Jennifer L. Alada.
Yeah.
And the SBL number needs to be changed to 64.00-1-34-112. So if someone makes a motion to amend the resolution, that's all we do.
We don't have to read the whole resolution.
You guys are masochists.
I can, I can make a motion to amend the, Filippo Alada, special use permit to read, under paragraph, page 1, paragraph 1, to read Filippo A. Alada and Jennifer L. Alada. And page 1, paragraph 1, the SPL to be corrected to 64.00-134.112.
I'll second.
Board Member Howe.
Yes.
Board Member Hoffman.
Yes.
Chairman Schmidt.
Yes,
Vice Chairman Harris.
Yes.
okay. All set. Next one is the proposed local law and the regulation of motorized and non-motorized temporary lanes, so. Some of the guys made some comments, some of the board members made some comments to Teresa.
Everybody's made comments to Teresa. And I don't have a new version to share with you
Okay.
yet.
All right, so then,
I'm hoping that I'll have a new version that the town board will introduce again at the meeting. And then we'll have to go back through the process because it's changed so much.
But the one that we have in here is only 2 pages. That's not the new one?
No,
that one's 15 pages.
it is not. No, it is getting shorter. It is getting shorter, but it is, you'll have another crack at it.
Okay,
Was
because this one's a lot different than the one we viewed last time. This one's quite a bit different, and it's going to be modified again.
It's going to be modified again.
Okay, good.
Great. Is there a substantive change or is this a lot of little?
No, it
Reading
is
into it too
substantive.
much? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are very hyper focused on it, so.
Okay, so we're gonna skip this one?
For the better, for the worse?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer that question. I think it's changing to be more targeted, I would say.
Okay.
To try to address people's concerns that it's gonna be used for some purpose for which it was not intended.
So is this changing, like just living in a camper RV on your property? Is that what that pertains to?
So this kills me because you're not allowed to live in a camper RV on your property. You're not allowed now. But we have people doing that.
Absolutely.
And so to make it easier for Chris to enforce that absolutely true thing, we've tried to come up with language that would be acceptable to everybody. So it was very clear that you couldn't buy an RV, put it on a vacant lot with no septic and no water and proceed to live in it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get to that point.
So how does that, I mean, So you're taking away the living off the grid idea.
It's not allowed in New York State.
Okay, no, I'm just asking questions.
I know, I'm sorry.
I don't wanna fight.
No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just trying to understand it. So-
Yeah, no, you can't,
Can live off the grid, not, you know.
Right. You can't have
Or a
everything. You can't.
trailer.
Yeah,
right,
It would have to be a permanent structures.
yeah,
it would
you
have to be a
have,
permanent structure, and
you
you
know,
would,
waste management that's actually approved by, Department of Health, or, you can't just dump it on the ground.
and
Right.
I think it is true, and I'll defer to Chris on this, that you can live off the grid, but you have to have a connection to it.
Correct.
Okay, so for instance, you can have solar panels, you can have a windmill, you can have whatever you can have and never use a drop of electricity, but you still have to be connected.
You still have to be connected to National Grid.
Really?
Yes.
1750 a month.
Right.
They just threatened to shut my
The
power.
problem with this law too is there's a 90-day clause in it right now that people are taking advantage of. Because it's the
So the 90 days covers a temporary
the
solution?
90 days was put in there for people who had fires.
Yeah.
And needed some, and stuff like that. People are now abusing that. I literally had one guy say to me, well, I'll live in it right here for 90 days and I'm gonna move it 20 feet over there. And I get 90 more days. Or they have two parcels side by side, 90 days, I'll move to that parcel for 90 days, I come back here for 90 days. So they're taking advantage of what was meant to be used as an emergency, right, for people in need, right?
Right,
If your
right.
House burns down.
I own a camper and I've lived in my camper for 3-4 days. I mean, you know where my house is.
Right.
But like, I remember when our hot water heater broke. It was like, well, I'm not gonna fix this. I'm not gonna be done with this. So we all showered in the camper.
Right.
Like, so that's temporary.
There's,
Yeah, I
there's
understand.
different circumstances, like,
Right.
you're not the person that the law is trying to.
Nobody wants to stop you from doing.
No, right. I'm just trying to understand. And I actually do know someone who lives like that. Like, and you're saying it's a New York State thing, not a Lotus issue.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you mean the off the grid thing?
Right.
Yeah, that's right, that's
Because
right.
I mean, we all snowmobile.
Yeah.
So how many of those campers in Tug Hill are sitting on parcels of land?
right.
Not our problem.
No, I know, but I had no idea.
Now,
it was a
there are
New York
certain,
thing.
there are certain places where you can have a camper tied into a septic.
Right.
Have a well.
And you have to well
all that stuff, and you would meet the New York State codes,
Okay.
right? But that's not,
That's not what you're handling.
right, that's not what we're dealing, I mean, we're literally dealing with people who are just putting their waste in the ground.
What if it was like a seasonal thing where the person was
We have a campground right over at across the acres, they have their own septic, their water.
no, I mean, if it's your own property,
Right,
if you own a piece of property and you put a camera on it, like, let's say you're here 3 months out of the year. That's still,
you would still need septic,
it's still permanent, considered permanent.
right,
Well, it's, where are you putting all the black water?
Right.
I mean, yeah, they have the holding tank, but not for 3 months.
No, no.
You know, yeah,
Right.
if you're really,
If you use stewards.
yeah.
it's.
Okay. So anyhow, it will be back to you in some form or another. And I will email it to you, each of you, so I'm sure that you have the right version. I still don't know how that happened, so I'll make sure you do.
Mike will be ready.
Nice. Yeah, and that's the minutes. Next,
The minutes, anybody have comments on the minutes?
Once again, I thought they were very well done. Thank you. I didn't have any edits. I was just,
Michael, does anybody have?
I didn't. I'm good.
I like it.
He's a creative aid.
If I
So I'll
can do
make a motion.
anything right, it's the minutes, so.
Unless you guys have any edits yourselves? No. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the December, what's the date? 19th, 2024 meeting minutes.
you should be home with chicken.
Okay.
Anyone want to second that?
I can second.
Vice Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Board Member Houghton.
Yes.
Chairman Schmidt.
Yes.
Board Member Houghton.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Are we gonna be able to get a little water this week, maybe?
I'll second that.
Where the ring?
Chairman Schmidt,
Did they, did you lay that thing back down?
Board Member Hoffman,
We got the science bill started to go.
When you
Board
were
Member-
Yes,
Board Member
I'll
Howard.
let you know.
Yes.
I'll have Deanna reach out.
that's very good. Thank
I
you.
mean, just.
If you wanna text me, I don't, if you don't wanna have to go through Deanna, that's fine.
Okay.
Eight thousand got it pretty far.
Yeah.
Um,
So the bloom.
I don't know what the fire truck brought.
Yeah, what I was saying,
Yeah.
we have a
Fire
zoning
truck,
at
yeah.
that.
Well, they basically
Per